You're not allowed to approve rental cars. This takes place when I was in the Air Force and was Assistant Director of Operations in my squadron. Basically, that means I was third in the squadron and in charge of the day-to-day operation of a C-17 flying squadron. It was not uncommon for me to be the highest-ranking person available in the squadron on a given day, as was the case this week. God help us all. Normally either the Director of Operations or Commander was supposed to be around, but due to extenuating circumstances it was just me that week. The Commander, not wanting to deal with having to sign rental car approval letters whenever someone went on temporary duty elsewhere, had delegated that authority down to me. One of our SSGT's staff sergeants was going away for about 3 weeks to attend protocol school and some other training. Basically training in all the minutiae of interacting with VIPs, high-ranking generals, congressmen, whatever. Every base has a protocol section to deal with that, and you have to attend the school first. As he was staying off base, I signed the letter authorizing him a rental car and forwarded the travel approval on up. About half an hour later I get a call from the operations group, composed of the flying squadrons and flying support squadron resource advisor. She goes off about how I'm not allowed to approval rental cars. There isn't money for them, and there's a shuttle to the school from the hotel. I argue that there's not. She doesn't listen and insists there is. The rental car is denied, and I don't have the authority to authorize one anyway. Fine. I call the hotel and confirm that there is indeed no shuttle. The hotel is also not near any food. I resubmit the travel authorization with a taxi to and from the campus every day, and then one for dinner in the evening. I then authorize a taxi out and back to a restaurant for lunch and dinner on the weekends. It ends up being $640 a week in taxis versus $200 at the governmental rental car rate. I resubmit the travel authorization. A call comes in half an hour later, asking why the trip was now significantly more expensive. I explained I called the hotel and confirmed no shuttle. Only then does she realize he's staying off base and tells me, "Go ahead and resubmit the travel authorization with a rental car approval." Sorry, I'm not authorized to approve a rental car. You'll need to draft a letter for the group commander, full colonel, to sign authorizing a car and rewrite the authorization if you want him to use a rental car. For the SSGT Sake, I hope she did rewrite the authorization, because in addition to the extra cost, using taxis to go everywhere can be a pain in the butt. But I doubt she did. So, you can authorize letting loose a C-17 that gulps more fuel in a minute than a rental car in a day. But you are not allowed to approve a rental car for a colleague? Weird. Karen tested, taxi company approved. You should have just faxed over the letter delegating that authority to you, or made a copy and had a working party hand deliver it. Staff Sergeant, I'm trying to get your rental car paid for, but Karen in operations insists I'm not allowed to do that. Could you deliver this copy of the memo allowing me to do that to Karen while I handle the rest of squadron business? Quote. Can I just say, I love hearing stories about the military, but as a civilian I sometimes have difficulty understanding them. I mean, there's always so much specialized understanding, like lingo and acronyms, that's required to even make sense of the story. But your story was easy to understand, and I could tell you wrote it to help us civilians. That's a difficult writing task. So, thank you. Edit. Typo. You can probably imagine my joy when, while in the Navy, I discovered that you were not only permitted but required to make your own lodging arrangements when traveling to attend a conference. Because conferences are frequently held at hotels which block off a bunch of rooms for the attendees. Suddenly, every time I officially traveled anywhere, for anything, I listed it as attending a conference. No more enforced staying in the shitty queue on base or getting booked a ratty, noisy hotel at the airport by the travel clerks. I would find the nicest, most elegant place around that accepted the standard government rate, which some very high-end places do. I tried not to smile when the clerks snottily told me they wouldn't book my arrangements and I would have to do it myself. Had a CW03 Chief Warrant Officer, when I was in the Crayon Eaters Club, come up to me and chew me out. I was an E5. He was pissed that I wouldn't do his travel claim. It's an automated system designed to allow for the individual to do the whole thing from auth to claim. My CW05 came and asked me to do it so he'd stop acting like a Ken. I did, and 3 weeks later this guy flies in my office pissed off because I forgot to input $3.78 receipt. His travel was over 6 most, so there was a ton of paperwork. Needless to say, he went and chewed my officer out, which made her, oh so happy. She understood that $3.78 missing from his $15K travel claim was stupid. So she told me to dig. And dig I did. Long story short, his unit messed up his orders and should have been a PCA, not TDY. Those that don't know, one is temporary and the other permanent. Coupled with the fact he also rode his motorcycle, not his car, that he was claiming. His claim came down to $7,300. He did, however, get that $3.78 receipt that I missed before. Good one for our military stories. Military stories would be a god place for this. I've read many a MC, but for some reason I really love this one. By the way, I'm glad you didn't drop the ball halfway through and actually called the hotel. This type of follow-through shows true leadership and thoughtfulness. And I'm sure these actions meant a lot to your enlisted men and women. Thank you for your service, sir. Sounds oh so familiar. Our Air Force would love this. This is a great one for our malicious compliance. You cost the government more money. This is sad. What I read, squadron.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.